Regular programming will not be seen at this time. Please stay tuned for the following special program.
It was November 13th. East High and Rush-Henrietta met in the Section 5 AAA football championship game. East pulled the upset. Tonight, the schools meet again for another championship, this time on the basketball court at the Rochester War Memorial.
A NewsCenter 13 sports exclusive. Live from the Rochester War Memorial, it's the 1989 Section 5 Class A basketball championship game. The Royal Comets of Rush-Henrietta take on the East High Orientals. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers Restaurants and by Midas, American and foreign car specialist. Nobody beats Midas.
Welcome to the Rochester War Memorial for the Section 5 Class A championship game between the Orientals of East High and the Rush-Henrietta Royal Comets. I'm Doug Emblidge along with Edison coach Dick O'Toole to help me with the game analysis tonight. Overall, what is the key to this basketball game tonight?
I think the key is going to be the inside play at both teams. Rush-Henrietta needs to keep East High's big men off the boards, not give them a lot of second and third chances, stay out of foul trouble, and at the other end, they're going to have to score some points to open up their outside game.
A lot has been made about the fact that this is a rematch of a football championship game from back in November. The point guards tonight for East and Rush-Henrietta were the quarterbacks in that game. Eric Wyatt for Rush-Henrietta and Sean Johnson for East. Let's talk first about Sean Johnson, the man who runs the show for the Orientals.
Sean's an excellent player. He had great training under Coach Joe Foster at Monroe. He can penetrate, he can shoot the three, he can pull up for the jumper, he leads the break. He's just a super all-around player, and East High needs him to play well if they're going to win the ball game.
He is one of 3 starters who transferred at the beginning of this year from Monroe because of a district reorganization. Took over the point guard spot from Terrence Mitchell, who's now moved to one of the off-guard slots.
Mitchell's a fine ball player, and I think having Sean at the point has really opened up his game now. He doesn't have to handle the ball as much, although he's capable of it. He receives that pass from Johnson. He can put that 3 in whenever he wants to.
Now over to Rush-Henrietta coach. Eric Wyatt is just a sophomore, yet he has the most playing experience of anybody on Rush-Henrietta because he began his career as an 8th grader, a starter for Gene Monge at the time, now for Coach Jim Cox.
Eric's a fine ball player. He's improved every year, and before his career is over, he's going to be one of the best to come out of the area. He's a leader for Sperry. He brings the ball up for him. He also can shoot the 3. He can take it to the basket. He needs to have a good ball game out front for Sperry to be in this game.
On any given night, Rush-Henrietta could go to just about anybody as a leading scorer. They've had a variety of those over the season. One of them might be Sean Strickland, the man who can gun from the 3-point range.
Sean, he's an excellent ball player. He never stops on the floor, constant motion, gives 100% every minute he's out there. And he's the type of player that if at the end of the game you don't realize, you look in the box score, all of a sudden here's this guy with 20-plus points. He's just that type of ball player. He gives you 100%. You can't ask for any more.
Well, we hope it is a good ball game, and we hope you enjoy it tonight on TV 13, our 13th year of doing the Section 5 Class A or AAA championship game. Mike Catalana joins us for the broadcast tonight, and he's standing by with at least one of the coaches right now. Mike?
Doug, actually, I have both of the coaches with me. The 2 men to my left and my right have a combined 9 Section 5 titles. On my right, Jim Cox from Rush-Henrietta has 2 of the 9. He calls himself the rookie, but he's not taking a back seat tonight. He's looking for a victory this evening. Coach, first off, what would you say is the key to this evening's game?
Well, we have to shoot the ball very, very well. We have to shut down East's great ability to penetrate on their offense. And I think that's basically the 2 keys. And one is we cannot get into a running game, and we don't want to, lose the transition part of our ball game.
Now, East is known to be a running team also. Do you think you can keep up with them? Is that going to be your strategy tonight?
Well, they're a running team. They have big kids that can get the ball out and get it down the floor. We're just going to have to be able to get back in our transition part of our ball game.
Good luck to you, Coach. And the man he is going up against tonight, Sal Rizzo from East High. And Sal, your team did very well this year. Top team in the city. Get into this championship tonight. You did it with a fast-breaking style. Is that what we'll expect tonight?
We break at times. Sometimes we hold, we play a half-court game. But that's part of our game plan, is to try to get the break going. I'm sure Jim is going to try and stop it, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
If you could pick one guy on your team that would be the key for tonight, who would it be?
I don't have one guy. The big thing that's gone well for us this year is we have 5 guys, different guys that could score on different nights.
And they've done it for you this
year.
year.
They've done it all year.
We'll see how it goes tonight. 2 men, not only great coaches, but are very well respected in the area. They'll battle tonight. We'll be back to talk to each of them at halftime. Now back to you, Doug.
We are just a few minutes away from tip-off here at the War Memorial for the game between East High and Rush-Henrietta. And we'll be back with more pre-game activities right after this.
Nobody can tell you what a complete and thorough brake job will cost until they inspect your car. Nobody. But some places promise low prices without making it clear what it includes. Midas makes it clear. For $69, Midas replaces your brake shoes or pads, turns drums or rotors, inspects front wheel bearings and front grease seals. So if you need brakes, remember, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Ma'am, so what do you think of Wendy's new chicken parmesan sandwich?
Autentico, la mia ricetta.
Mama says it tastes like hers, too much like hers.
Chi ha rubato la mia ricetta?
No, Mama, nobody stole your recipe.
No, è mia sorella Antonetta.
I wasn't your sister Antonetta.
Try Wendy's delicious new chicken parmesan sandwich. A whole chicken breast fillet, real mozzarella, and a rich tomato sauce. It's at Wendy's now, but only for a limited time.
She didn't sell your recipe to nobody, Mama.
Wendy's new chicken parmesan sandwich.
The cold, hard facts. Last year, almost 2 million families stopped buying regular Pepsi. And the major soft drink they moved to more than any other was Diet Coke. With smooth, satisfying, real cola taste and just 1 calorie. Taste what so many regular Pepsi drinkers have already discovered. The move is on to Diet Coke.
You are looking live at the Rochester War Memorial. The fans here getting set for the Class A championship game, the culmination of the 68th annual Section 5 basketball tournament. Doug Emblidge along with Edison coach Dick O'Toole, and if we had to pick a favorite tonight, it probably would be East. They have more team speed than Rush-Henrietta, but Rush-Henrietta is certainly not a deep underdog in this game.
No, I wouldn't say so. East High's played well all year long, and in the stretch run, they seem to have brought their game up to another level. Rush-Henrietta, on the other hand, I think has played very consistent all year long, and they maybe didn't get their due credit due to Webster having such a fine season, and Fairport was close behind. I wouldn't count out this Rush-Henrietta team.
Okay, let's take a look at how Rush-Henrietta and East made it to the championship game. Here is the road to the championship for both schools.
Rush-Henrietta, number 2 seeded, opened up play with number 15, Spencerport. It was as close as 3 points in the third quarter before RH blew it open. Jerome Watts led a balanced attack with 13 in a 75-57 win that moved the Royal Comets into the quarterfinals, where they would meet number 10 seed Irondequoit. On this night, Rush-Henrietta got their offense in gear. Sophomore guard Eric Wyatt had 20 points, which was the margin of victory in an 83-63 win to send RH to the Class A semifinals against Fairport. At the War Memorial, the Royal Comets opened a big lead. Brian Hetrick led the scoring with 19 points. Fairport made a late run, but it wasn't enough. Rush-Henrietta won it 75-72 to move to the Class A finals. East High started their drive to the finals against number 13 Cardinal Mooney. This was no contest. The Orientals, paced by Reggie Smith's 15, rolled to a 76-50 win to advance to the quarterfinals against Franklin. This would be a matchup of the 2 best teams in the city. Earlier in the year, East handed Franklin its only on-the-court loss of the season. On this day, they ended Franklin's season. Dion Mizell had 13 points, including a key 3-pointer late in the game. East took the 62-61 win to advance to the War Memorial semifinal against Marshall. The Jurists had reached the final by upsetting top-seeded Webster, but they were no match for East. Terrence Mitchell had 23 to lead the way. East won it 81-60 to move on and set up tonight's Class A championship game between the East High Orientals and the Rush-Henrietta Royal Comets.
Well, after a decade as the chairman of this Section 5 basketball tournament, Gene Johnson is stepping down this year. His shoes going to be filled by a successor, but Mike Catalana is standing by with Gene right now for some of his thoughts as he bids adieu to the Section 5 tournament, at least from the standpoint of the chairman. Mike?
Doug, you're talking about very big shoes to fill. Gene Johnson, well respected in the whole area for the job he's done. And after 9 years, Gene, you say it's 9, not 10, as some people have said. Why are you stepping down?
Well, it's a perfect time for me. I'm the chairman for the state. It's a 5-year term. My term expires this year. It just seemed like a good time to get out.
After all the great games you must have seen and all the great times as Section 5 basketball chairman, does one stand out?
Well, it does, because my son Mark played on the 81 championship team when Arcadia won their last championship.
And so you follow that from your first year to now your last year, and your other son gets a title and an exciting game last night. What a great way to go out.
Can't ask for I couldn't have written a better script.
What was the feeling last night?
Well, I was so nervous yesterday. You know, all the years I've been involved, I don't believe I was as nervous as yesterday, and it was just the greatest feeling. It was something that happened that I don't know how it happened, and I was so excited I was speechless.
Well, it's fitting. A fitting way for you to go out. Congratulations on your tenure and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Gene Johnson, a very classy man, and he'll go out with a lot of respect from people in this area, Doug.
Certainly will, Mike. Thank you very much. Doug Westcott, now the athletic director out at Rockport, will be taking over, and we wish him a lot of luck as he takes over. Big job. We are approaching tip-off here between East High and Rush-Henrietta for the Class A championship of Section 5 basketball. We'll be back with more right after this.
It's the President's Celebration at your hometown Chevy dealer. Do you know how much cash they have to give back if you buy now? Buy Chevy Corsica, Beretta, or Cavalier and get these beautiful presidential portraits.
Get up to $600 cash back or 4.9 financing on Cavalier. Get up to $400 cash back on Corsica and Beretta. Get cash back on top of factory-to-dealer discounts plus 4.9 financing on selected models.
It's going on now, the President's Celebration at your hometown Chevy dealer.
Hi, I'm Tony Destino. You know, your friends at Ride-Town Millwork have always followed one basic guideline: sell quality products and be there for service. Ride-Town is honored to be the top choice of more Greater Rochester home builders than any other window and door company, and service is the reason. Visit the Ride-Town showroom and examine Therma-Tru Fiber Classic door systems, the door of the future. We're at 56 Commerce Drive, just south of Southtown Plaza. Ride-Town Millwork, leaders in quality and service for 23 years.
The food's great at Harry's Family Restaurant.
Right!
Try a menu of tasty delights starting with breakfast.
Ooh!
Or Harry's lunch special: soup, choice of 2 buffet dishes, and full salad bar for only $3.45.
Wow!
Dinner specials that drive taste buds wild. Don't forget the vegetables or no dessert. Try Harry's Family Restaurant in the Ridge Clinton Plaza. Even our commercials taste good.
We are back at the Rochester War Memorial. Edison coach Dick O'Toole along with Doug Emblidge and Mike Catalana here at the War Memorial. A good crowd on hand. Still some people filing in as, again, tip-off isn't until 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. Rush-Henrietta and East High School. A couple coaches who've been here before, Dick. Jim Cox of Rush-Henrietta, of course, was the Roth coach before the district consolidation and then took over when the two schools merged. Another district consolidation in the city brought some Monroe kids over to Sal Rizzo's East High Club. But we were talking about the coaches. Both of them have been in championship situations before.
Yes, they have, and that's a credit to the programs that they've been able to run. So, you know, from that standpoint, I think they know how to approach their teams and have them ready for this game.
There you see Sal Rizzo started coaching at East back, I think it was 1967. has been to this, I believe, 10 times. And the reason I'm not sure is I asked him, and he wasn't sure just how many championship games he's been involved in, but certainly one of the legends of among high school basketball coaches in Section 5. And over on the other bench is Jim Cox of Rush-Henrietta. Jim Cox, as we said, began with Roth. He had back-to-back championships in '81 and in 1982. And looking forward to meeting his rival from the city tonight at the Rochester War Memorial. The officials for tonight's game are on the right-hand side there, Larry Tripotto. He was the official for the championship game just a couple of years ago between Fairport and McQuaid. And there's Rich Frank, his partner tonight, calling this game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the War Memorial. I'm Mike Paz from
And we are getting ready for the introductions of the players from both schools. I will be doing the honors not only on the broadcast, but also over the public address system here at the Rochester War Memorial.
Sports Director of WOKR Channel 13, Doug Emblidge.
For the East High Orientals, at guard, a 6'1" junior, number 23, Kendall Anderson. Anderson for Rush-Henrietta. For East High, number 20, Alvin De Leon. For Rush-Henrietta, a 6'5" junior forward, number 50, Mike Connolly. For East, a 6-foot sophomore guard, number 10, Mark Gettner. For Rush-Henrietta, a 5'10" junior guard, number 20, Kevin Cox. For East High, a 5'10" junior guard, number 15, Corey Hart. For Rush-Henrietta, a 6'4" junior forward, number 42, Steve Granger. For East, a 6'7" sophomore forward, number 32, Arthur Long. At forward for Rush-Henrietta, a senior, 5 feet, 11 inches tall, number 52, Ryan Hargrave. For East, a 5'11" senior guard, number 30, Gary Martin. For Rush-Henrietta, at forward, a 6', 3" senior, number 30, Joby Knapp. For the Orientals, a junior forward, 6 feet, 4 inches tall, number 50, Eric White. For the Royal Comets, a 5'10" junior guard, number 40, Rodney Roberts. For East, a sophomore, number 25, Anthony Gibbons. For Rush-Henrietta, a 6' senior guard, number 24, Jerome Watts. A 5'10" sophomore at East, a guard, number 35, Rick Edwards. For Rush-Henrietta, a 5'10" senior guard, number 14, Mark Wilkins. Now the starting lineups for East and Rush-Henrietta. First for East, number 12, a 5'11" junior guard, Dion Mizell. For Rush-Henrietta, a 6'6" senior setter, number 34, Kevin Jackson. For East, a 6'7" junior forward, number 42, Reggie Smith. For Rush-Henrietta, a 5'10" senior guard, number 22, Sean Strickland. For East, a 6'3" junior guard, number 00, Terrence Mitchell. For Rush-Henrietta, a 6'1" senior at guard, number 32, Chris Sanderson. For East, a 5'11" senior at point guard, number 22, Sean Johnson. For Rush-Henrietta, at guard, a 5'10" sophomore, number 12, Eric Wyatt. For East High, number 40, a 6'6" junior setter, Will Kendrick. And finally, for the Rush-Henrietta Royal Comets, number 44, a 6'4" senior forward, Brian Petrick. The coach of the Rush-Henrietta Royal Comets is Jim Cox. For the East High Orientals, the coach, Sal Rizzo. So there you have it, the starting lineups for East High and Rush-Henrietta, and we're just a few moments away from the tip-off here between the Orientals and the Royal Comets. Doug Emblidge along with Edison coach Dick O'Toole. And we will be back right after this.
When your child has a fever, reach for me, Pandy, the Children's Panadol Panda. Children's Panadol is recommended by more and more pediatricians. They know it's aspirin-free. And nothing beats Children's Panadol for reducing fever fast. Next time your child is feverish, listen to your doctor and look for me, Pandy, on aspirin-free Children's Panadol. More than medicine, it's peace of mind.
Looking for the lowest price on a new Chevy, Olds, truck, or van?
Shop Donald.
Want a used car that's hard to beat?
Get Donald's best.
Yes, Donald Chevy Olds Geo has it all.
Award-winning service.
Free ride to work.
Car and truck rentals.
The best body shop anywhere, and Donald's staff never says no.
Donald treats me just like family. I get prices I can really afford.
Donald Chevy Olds, just minutes east of Webster on 104 in Williamson. It's the bright spot on Route 104.
Hello, I'm WOKR's meteorologist Bill Peterson. Join my wife Janice and me on a fabulous 13-day tour to Alaska. We'll cruise the Inside Passage aboard the deluxe ship Daphne, visit Denali National Park, home of Mount McKinley, and wonderful wildlife. Join us August 3rd to 15th for this Alaska vacation. For your free brochure, call the WOKR Alaska hotline, toll-free, 1-800-826-2266.
And we're back at the War Memorial tip-off just moments away. First, a ceremonial tip-off. Gene Johnson, the outgoing chairman of the Section 5 basketball tournament, will do the honors. We go to center court for that. And there you have it. They have thrown out the first pitch, so to speak, and we're ready to get going here. Coach Dick O'Toole from Edison High, Doug Emblidge and Mike Catalana here to bring you this ball game for the Section 5 Class A Championship. We're just about to get underway. East wearing the gold. Rush-Henrietta in the green wins the tip, and that's Chris Sanderson. a guy who really Jim Cox calls his most versatile player. He can do it all. He hands off to Eric Wyatt, the point guard, at the top of the key. Brian Hetrick goes up with a shot. It doesn't fall. A scramble on the floor for it. RH maintains possession. There's Hetrick underneath. He lays it in off the glass.
Good
and
hustle.
We have our first score of the ball game.
That was good hustle by Rush-Henrietta.
Terrence Mitchell comes right back with a shot for East to tie this game at 2. Rush-Henrietta does not want to get into a running game with East. They say they will run if the numbers are on their side on the break, but other than that, they will kick it back out and look for the good shot. There's Sanderson driving. He feeds into Kevin Jackson. Jackson tries to go up with it, loses it on a pass to Hetrick. That's Sean Johnson bringing it up court, and he keeps driving, goes up with a shot, and draws a foul.
That's one thing Rush-Henrietta is going to have to make sure they do is get back on defense in transition. They can't allow East to break the ball down and have the numbers, because East High is going to either score off that or go to the foul line.
Foul on Sean Strickland, the man that, if you had to have you wanted a guy with a ball who could shoot it from long distance late in the game, it would probably be Strickland, although he's not the only guy on this team that can shoot from the perimeter. That's true of East too, not just one outside shooting threat, which is a nice thing for a coach to have.
Both teams have 3 players that can put the ball up from 3 points with a high percentage. For East High, you have Mitchell, Sean Johnson, and Dion Mizell, and on the other side, you have Strickland, Sanderson, and Wyatt. So the 3-point shot should be in effect tonight.
So East turns it over to Rush-Henrietta. Royal Comets working it around, kicking it inside to Brian Hetrick, back out to Sanderson. There he is. He looked for the shot, wasn't there. Sanderson will take it instead. It's off the iron. Hetrick with the rebound, and he goes in, doesn't fall. Jackson's shot doesn't fall, and East wins the battle on the boards finally. Sean Johnson with the alley-oop, and it goes! Number 40, Will Kendrick, the 6'6" junior, was on the receiving end of that. They won't do it like Sherman Douglas in Syracuse, but it was there at that time, and they took it.
That was a fine play. Johnson brought the ball down. Kendrick knew that he was going to get that ball coming down. He just kept going to the basket and put it up soft on the glass.
And Kendrick makes the free throw for a 5-2 East High lead. Eric Wyatt brings it up. Strickland to Wyatt. To Chris Sanderson. And Wyatt takes the shot. It goes off the back of the rim. It will be East High ball. If you had to pick a guy most likely to leave the game with scraped knees, it would have to be Chris Sanderson for Rush-Henrietta. He's a scrappy player and will always be hustling.
He gives you everything you want out there on the floor. He's, like you said, he'll get down on the floor after the ball, and he's the type of guy, if he gets hot, he can really open up the offensive end for you.
That's Reggie Smith with the jam. And Jim Cox's team down 7-2 with 5:46 left to play in the first quarter. It's funny, the last 2 games we've done together, Coach, have been blowouts early and ended up being very good ball games. McQuaid and Fairport, then McQuaid and Webster. East has certainly not blown Rush-Henrietta out yet. It's 8-2 with that free throw. But it can happen in this game, especially with the nerves that maybe one team or the other is likely to feel at the War Memorial.
Exactly. You just don't know what's going through the minds of your players. And, you know, Rush-Henrietta has had some good chances. They've come up empty, but, you know, they're getting some quality shots.
And they've played here before. Most of the players on this team, in fact, all of them, were here last year when they had some experience in the War Memorial. Sean Strickland didn't see a lot of action, but he did make a 3-pointer when Rush-Henrietta got to the semis last year.
Sperry just needs to take their time, not rush. You know, the game's early. 6 points really is not much in this game anymore.
East's first foul is on Terrence Mitchell. That's Strickland. Looked for the shot. He takes it, and it's all net. A 3-pointer, our first of the night. It's 8-5 East. That's Sean Johnson. Up with a shot. It's good. A 2-pointer. Go ahead, Coach.
Rush-Henrietta is going to have to make sure they get a man up on their outside players, because East High can, you know, they have 3 men that can throw that ball up.
There's Strickland again. This one doesn't fall. RH opens up 2 for 9 from the field after that trip down, and East is 4 for 4. Mitchell with a shot. It doesn't go, but he draws the foul. Sanderson got in his way.
Rush-Henrietta has had some good chances. They're 2 for 9, but 4 of those misses have come from inside where they've missed.
So Mitchell will go to the line. Jerome Watts is into the ball game for Rush-Henrietta to replace Chris Sanderson.
Watts has done a nice job coming off the bench for Coach Cox.
Mitchell misses the first. The one thing Coach Cox didn't want was foul trouble. Chris Sanderson already has 2 tonight. Mitchell hits the second. It is 11-5 East with 4.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. If you haven't seen a high school game in a while, they are 8-minute quarters. That's Watts, who puts it up and is rejected by Mitchell. Mitchell takes it himself, doesn't find any openings. Back to Johnson, takes the shot, no good. The rebound. Jerome Watts comes down to it, just into the ball game. He's already taken a shot and will get credit for getting the ball back there. Jackson went up with it, but there was a foul.
That was a nice feed inside by Wyatt. He drove the baseline. When the defense came out to stop him, he dished it inside.
Watts takes the shot. It's good. A three-pointer. And they're back within 3. Sean Johnson, the quarterback of the East High football team. In a sense, the quarterback of the basketball team. Eric Wyatt, the same story for Rush-Henrietta. We talked about it. They met in the championship game back in November. East High upset Rush-Henrietta in that one, so a little revenge for them. That time, Wyatt's shot hits nothing. Here's Johnson on the break. He takes it all the way, and it goes. Sean Johnson goes coast to coast.
Sperry's going to have to do a better job of getting back in transition.
Jerome Watts with the ball now for Rush-Henrietta. Moves to the top of the key. Over to Wyatt. Back to Watts, to Strickland. Doesn't see the shot. He tries to get inside. Does to Jackson. There's no shot there, and he loses it as he puts the ball on the floor. Here's Will Kendrick. He goes all the way, gets the bucket, and the foul. The basket does not count. I take that back. That was a charging foul.
They made a nice play at the other end defensively, East High, by doubling down on the postman when he put the ball down, but Will tried to get a little fancy with the ball at the other end, resulting in the offensive foul.
East is not an undisciplined running team. Sometimes we think of running teams as we see Wyatt hit the three-pointer and make it a 13-11 ball game. East will usually be very smart on the break. They have been trying to take it to the hole in a hurry the last couple trips down the court.
Well, East High's bringing the ball up, whether Rush-Henrietta makes or misses, they're pushing the ball up. And unless Rush-Henrietta does a better job of getting back defensively, East High's going to wind up with a lot of quality chances, and they're going to be going to the foul line.
And Kevin Jackson picks up his second foul of the ball game. So a couple players with 2 fouls early for Rush-Henrietta. Terrence Mitchell hits the free throw. Rush-Henrietta is 3 for 6 from three-point range, so 9 of their 11 points have been three-pointers. East hasn't taken any three-pointers.
That's the nice thing about the three-point shot. You can get yourself back into a game real hurry, and when it looked like Rush-Henrietta was down and out, they come back with the three-point shot.
We've seen it happen a number of times in this tournament so far. The three-pointer has been a big factor as Strickland tries when it goes off the iron. Here comes East. Johnson with a nice behind-the-back dribble, the no-look pass to the corner, and the three-pointer by Reggie Smith doesn't fall, but Sean Johnson follows up, and East scores. 1 minute and 50 seconds left to go in this first quarter of play. You're watching the Section 5 Class A championship game, the boys basketball tournament, on your sports source in Rochester, WOKR 13. Jerome Watts playing for Chris Sanderson, who has 2 early fouls. Almost a steal there by Will Kendrick for East. It goes out of bounds. We see Sal Rizzo rooting his players on.
Rush-Henrietta is doing a nice job controlling the ball offensively, and they are getting some good shots. They need to just hit a little higher percentage.
They throw it away there. Brian Hetrick tries to send it off the leg of an East player, but it doesn't work, and East will take over. 17-11 the score. The Orientals on top. A good crowd at the War Memorial tonight, Dick, but not a huge crowd. Not as big as we saw with McQuaid and Webster and McQuaid and Fairport the last couple of years.
No, I think it's a matter of
nice turnaround there for Terrence Mitchell, excuse me.
How the spectators, the people that view games, view the matchups, and some people like different matchups better, I guess.
Still a good crowd for a high school basketball game. We don't have an attendance figure yet. We'll get it for you. This tournament is so well run, so well done, and so enjoyable. You don't even have to be a parent or a student to enjoy coming to these games. The last 2 weeks are a lot of fun as we watch East on the break and the follow by Will Kendrick. And they've built a 10-point lead with 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. You haven't seen, we're going to see the replay on this, you haven't seen Rush-Henrietta able to get back like you said they had to, Coach, to stop that break.
No, they're not getting back well at all.
We've covered it well. Now keep it up. Way to go in there. Way to go. The goal will work all day. And work all day. Myself. Stay with the team. Let's go. Stay with Tony's all right. Just take your hands and push them off. Nicely. Don't get rough. Get out. Come on. Team ball. Okay, team ball. Leave your ass where it is. All right. Yeah, where the hell are they?
Well, other than some missing towels, an interesting huddle as we listen to Sal Rizzo, one of the grand masters of coaching in Section 5 basketball. Been around a long time and has his share of titles, and he's looking for another. Leading scorers so far tonight, Strickland has 6 for RH. Terrence Mitchell was 7 for East. RH find themselves down by 10 with under 20 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Tipped out of bounds by East, and Rush-Henrietta will try to cut the lead to either 8 or 7 before we take our first intermission. Sean Johnson actually giving Sean Strickland all the room he needs to shoot. Underneath the Brian Hetrick, who's fouled over the back.
It was a good entry pass. Brian's got to put some of those in. He's missed a couple of layups tonight, and those are, big baskets.
He is 1 for 5.
And those 5 shots have all been layups, so they need those points in there.
Layups against some tall inside players for East. Certainly the rebounding advantage in terms of height and arm length goes to East. They've got some big men underneath.
Rush-Henrietta has been getting some good shots offensively. I think their problem right now is that they're not playing the defensive end the way they want to.
Saw on the East bench sitting next to Sal Rizzo, his son David, who played for him a couple years ago. In fact, couldn't play in the sectionals because he twisted his ankle at a pep rally and may have cost East a trip to the finals. Hetrick hands the first one.
He received an extra free throw, a bonus, because there was a lane violation on each side, so he got a second chance off the miss of the first one.
He misses the second. East with the rebound. They've got 8 seconds. They'll have to hurry. And it's intercepted by Wyatt. Back to Strickland. He's got 4, 3. Here's Wyatt with a shot. Oh, it just misses. Goes off the backboard and off the iron. So at the end of one quarter, it is Rush-Henrietta trailing East 21-12. And we'll be back to the War Memorial right after this.
Lauer's Furniture, the complete home furnishing center, has it all. A sensational brand name furniture and carpet selection, decorating service, convenient credit terms. Lauer's has it all.
Nobody can tell you what a complete and thorough brake job will cost until they inspect your car. Nobody. But some places promise low prices without making it clear what it includes. Midas makes it clear. For $69, Midas replaces your brake shoes or pads, turns drums or rotors, inspects front wheel bearings and front grease seals. So if you need brakes, remember, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
If you're gossiping about it,
You don't see that every day.
if you're hearing about it,
It seems to be a problem that is on everyone's mind.
it's on. Donahue.
Donahue, weekday mornings at 9 on 13.
And we're set to begin the second quarter of play between East and Rush-Henrietta, this Section 5 Class A championship game. East 21, RH 12, and we're underway. This is Sean Johnson, the point guard for East. Man who can play football and basketball and has just committed a travel. Being looked at by some Ivy League schools. Not sure what he wants to play yet either. RH with the ball. Sanderson back in the ball game. He got those 2 early fouls, but he's an important man. As we look at the three-pointer launched by Wyatt, no good, but the rebound, Hetrick underneath, and he puts it in.
That was a nice putback by Brian Hetrick. He was in the right position, maneuvered, was not blocked out, and resulted in the easy 2.
Terrence Mitchell with a shot that doesn't go. Sanderson in there for the rebound, and he loses it, but it will be Rush-Henrietta ball. A couple of 8-point runs for East in that first quarter is what did the damage. They were down 2-0, went up 8-2. They were up 13-11 and ended up 21-11 at the end of the first quarter.
They've been able to get the ball up quickly against Rush-Henrietta, and I think that's been a problem for the Rush-Henrietta team, which they need to address.
That was the big issue coming in for the coaches. The team speed. Eric Wyatt's shot misses off the rim. This time the rebound is on the floor, the ball on the floor, and Terrence Mitchell is called for the travel as he tried to pick it up off the floor. So Rush-Henrietta will get a chance to cut the lead to 21-16 or 21-17 if a three-pointer goes in. Sanderson almost loses it, gets it back. He drives, dishes to Kevin Jackson underneath, who takes the shot that is nowhere near. And the rebound down to Reggie Smith. They push the ball up. And a nice move underneath by Dion Mizell. Beautiful move, driving the baseline, and then the reverse layup.
Pretty move.
Again, Rush-Henrietta wasn't back. The team speed of East hurting the Royal Comets. Sanderson to Strickland for 3. It's off the back of the board. Again, the rebound to East. Sean Johnson pushes it up to Mitchell. Mitchell takes it, takes the shot. It's all net. And it's 25-14 halfway through, or just into quarter number 2. 25-14, East High out in front. Eric Wyatt 1 for 6 from the field, but the good thing about a guy like Wyatt, he's only a sophomore. With that experience, he does not get flustered by the slow start. In the past, he's been able to play through it as the turnovers committed. Dion Mizell and Eric White in the ball game loses it out of bounds. Eric White, one of 2 East High players who played on the championship football team against Rush-Henrietta back in November. RH has Eric Wyatt, Sean Strickland.
It's kind of like a homecoming.
Some hard work under the boards for Sanderson there. RH turns it over.
Yeah, that's where that height advantage kind of alters your shot, and in that case, Sanderson came up empty.
Some impressive numbers early on for East. Reggie Smith already has 5 rebounds for the Orientals.
That's a foul off the ball against Mitchell. I believe he was pushing off, trying to get free. And we're in the bonus, so Rush-Henrietta is going to be shooting 1-1, and these are points that they're going to need.
An 11-point lead for East right now. We mentioned Sal Rizzo coaching his son a couple years ago at East. Jim Cox has had the pleasure and I guess the difficult job of doing it twice. His son Tim Cox, a lacrosse player, freshman lacrosse player at Maryland, he's expected to start this year. Played lacrosse and basketball and football for his dad. And his son Kevin is on the bench for Rush-Henrietta right now, one of the best shooters on the team. He's a junior, expects to see a lot more action next year. So Strickland cans them both.
We need those points. They're struggling from the field, so they need to, score when they have that opportunity from the foul line.
Johnson with the drive, and he's mugged.
An offensive
and they
foul.
call the charge. They call the offensive.
Yeah, Hetrick had good position down in the baseline and stood his ground, and Johnson went right into him, resulting in the foul.
You kind of were expecting the foul to go the other way there, but you're right, it was a good call. This is Sean Strickland at the top of the key, looks to shoot. Over to Hetrick. That's Wyatt. Sanderson makes the double pump, doesn't do it, feeds inside to Jackson, who can't hold on to it. Kevin Jackson having trouble holding on to the ball, but East turns it back over anyway.
The foul was right. It was a good look inside, but as you said, Kevin just couldn't find the handle on it. He's got those silk gloves on.
The tallest player in the lineup for Rush-Henrietta, he just walked underneath.
He got caught, he picked up his dribble, but he was too far underneath the basket. He really couldn't do anything with the ball. East High is going to go fourth corner here.
As we have 4 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in this first half of basketball from the War Memorial. Talked about the crowd. It has filled in considerably since we mentioned it last about 10 minutes ago. Johnson with the drive down the lane, the dish to Eric White, but there was a foul before the shot.
Try not to get that penetration because usually the result is a dump off pass.
There you see the crowd filled in well. Good crowd at the War Memorial. Some of the folks a little late in arriving tonight because I'm looking up in the entranceways and there's still people coming in. East with the rebound off the missed free throw. They're on the floor again. They spent a lot of time in the trenches tonight, Coach, and Brian Hetrick gets it up to Eric Wyatt. Wyatt to Strickland, who tries to drive, and Terrence Mitchell gets foul number 3.
That could be a big foul right there.
Terrence Mitchell used to be the point guard for East. He was the point guard last year when the district reorganized. East picked up some players from Monroe. 3 of them are starters, including Sean Johnson. So Terrence Mitchell moved to the off-guard slot where he's found a lot of success this year. There you saw the foul on Mitchell. So Sean Strickland goes to the line. It's a 25-16 ball game. Mitchell leads East with 9 points, but he also has those 3 fouls. Strickland hits the first. He is a good shooter, Coach.
Yes, he is. He's an excellent shooter. And when he gets into a rhythm, he's really tough to stop.
I talked to him the other day about that, and he relishes the possibility of needing a 3-pointer late. He'd like to be the guy to get the ball and take it. He doesn't feel nervous about that at all. He leads RH with 10 tonight as East misses. Reggie Smith goes up with it, loses it. RH comes down with the ball. It's 25-18, so they've cut the lead to 7.
Well, they're patient offensively. They're working well, and the shots are starting to fall a little bit better for them.
Strickland will drive. The bounce pass, tries it to Jackson, gets it back again. He goes up for the layup. It's no good, and this time it will be East. Dion Mizell with the dish over to Mark Gettner into the ball game. The layup is good. Mark Gettner is checked into the ball game, so you've got Gettner, Mizell, Reggie Smith, Will Kendrick in the ball game for East.
East High's in a zone defense.
And Sean Johnson, who's moved down in the zone. Hetrick takes the shot from outside.
That's not the shot that Coach Cox would like to see from Hetrick. Good hustle on his part getting back, but
Kevin Jackson is hurt for Rush-Henrietta back at the other end. He never made the trip down court. That's who I was keeping an eye on. Coach Cox is out to see what's going on there. He falls down on the floor now, and he is obviously in pain, and he is grasping his ankle.
I think he went up for that ball that got blocked on Hetrick, and he probably came down and on somebody's foot, or just came down wrong on his, and looks like he might have a twisted ankle.
So with a player hurt, and we'll try to find out what's happened with Kevin Jackson, we will take a break here and be back for more basketball action from the Rochester War Memorial.
Slammin'. Through the years, man has strived to find an easier way to get a job done. Whether trying to discover a faster route or a more efficient method, we've created and modified, never satisfied until we found a better way. Reporter David Burns introduces you to some inventive pioneers in the Rochester area. What inspired them to create, and how have their inventions improved our quality of life? Find out in Eureka in Rochester, a special report beginning Monday at 11, only on Rochester's news source, NewsCenter 13.
Years ago when I played Ben Casey, I never worried about my weight. But in the past 15 years, I put on 25 pounds I just couldn't lose. I tried everything.
On Weight Loss Clinic's new Thin for Life program, I lost 25 pounds in 25 days and never felt hungry.
It worked for me. It can work for you, too.
With Thin for Life, your results are guaranteed in writing. Call 1-800-456-LOSE. For the Weight Loss Clinic nearest you, call 1-800-456-LOSE. Call now.
For all your sporting good needs, come to Old Ridge Sports, featuring a complete line of athletic footwear, lacrosse equipment, licensed NFL and Major League Baseball products, and fishing tackle. Old Ridge Sports, Webster's only complete sporting goods store.
We are back at the Rochester War Memorial. Kevin Jackson went out injured for Rush-Henrietta. As he left, he was 0 for 2 from the field, had a couple rebounds and a couple of fouls, and he's sitting on the bench now, and coming into the game will be
probably Brian Conley.
Brian Conley, number 50. I was just checking to make sure that's who it was. He is usually the first forward off the bench, and indeed that's the case here. East will inbound the ball. They have a 27-18 lead with 2.5 minutes left in the first half. And it goes through the hands, but Dion Mizell is there to recover. Mark Gentner into the game. As we mentioned, Terrence Mitchell, one of East's important players, out with 3 fouls right now. He'll certainly sit out the rest of the half. There's Mizell as East tries to slow it up for the remainder of the second quarter.
Well, East High with Mitchell on, they might be trying to run some clock here with the lead.
There's Johnson. He's going to drive to the hoop, and he's going to pass underneath to Kendrick, but Kendrick loses it.
That's the one Achilles heel of a 4-corner offense. When you're holding the ball, you like to come away with something, either a field goal or a foul shot.
Foul, right? You saw Kevin Jackson on the bench. They are working on his ankle. RH comes away with nothing.
Well, that was not a good pass by Brian Hetrick.
There's Johnson. A shot over the outstretched arms of 3 Rush-Henrietta players falls. It's 29-18. The lead's back to 11. Wyatt to Strickland. Strickland into Brian Hetrick. Mike Conley now in the middle for Rush-Henrietta. There's Chris Sanderson. Thinks about it. Conley with the turnaround, and he is stripped of the ball and draws a foul.
Good ball fake. He got Reggie Smith committed in the air, and at the same time he hit him on the arm, so he's going to be able to shoot 2 foul shots.
Eric White is into the ball game again for East, and sitting down is Will Kendrick. And you see Kevin Jackson getting his ankle taped, which would indicate he may very well be back in the ball game.
I think he'll test it out, and if he can move and he has some mobility in terms of cutting, I think he'll give it a try. But You don't know how, if it balloons up too much on him, then you're going to be finished for the night.
So Conley makes 1 of 2 at the free throw line to cut the lead to 10 points with a minute to go in the second half. Hasn't been a pretty ball game, certainly not a high-scoring ball game. There's the rebound by East, and the shot that doesn't fall. It still doesn't fall, and this time a travel is called by Arthur Long. Arthur Long traveled to the play. He is also into the ball game. Rizzo, Sal Rizzo, the coach of East, going to his bench quite a bit in this first half.
He's rotating his people in. He's got a little foul trouble, and maybe he's not happy with the play of some of his people. But they are getting some putbacks up there, but they haven't converted.
Wyatt at the top of the key. He drives, feeds underneath to Brian Hetrick. He shoots and scores.
That's a pretty play right there. It was a nice pass. Eric had the open jump shot. Unselfish. He passed inside for the open layup.
With a sure thing. Wyatt was in the air and kind of knew what he was going to do all the way. He did. We didn't. Mark Gentner handling the ball for East. Back to Sean Johnson. Johnson will drive, takes the shot, and it goes. And we have Sean Johnson is hurt now. May have gotten poked in the eye as he went up, and the first half comes to an end, 31-21. Sean Johnson down on the court. So a hard-fought first half. Sean looks to be okay, and he will head into the locker room. A little worse for the wear, but certain to be back. Sal Rizzo and son David, and there you see a couple of the ball players from the other teams walking off tonight. So that's the end of the first half, 31-21. Mike Catalana is standing by with East coach Sal Rizzo. Mike.
Coach, 31-21 at half. Is it the pace you expected?
Well, we like to run a little more, but, you know, I want a disciplined team, too. We're having a little trouble running our offense on a man-to-man play, so I figure we'd get them out on the 4 and get some easy plays. And we had some good passes in there, and we had some travels, and we've had some missed shots in there. But I'm pleased so far.
Terrence Mitchell's 3 fouls. What does that do for your rotation?
Well, he's a heck of a ball player. But one thing, this team is deep. We don't have one to replace him as good as he, but this sophomore kid does a nice job, and I've got 2 big kids that come in for my forward. So this is probably one of my teams that have had more depth than in the past years.
You seem to have a couple problems with the refs there before half. Anything in particular?
Well, no, I just thought there was some slaps, you know, that we should have had called, and that's all. I mean, I think they're doing a decent job. I just felt that there were some fouls that they missed. But, hey, I'm down at this end, so I'm not going to say too much about it.
Okay, Coach, go back with your team. One note we wanted to make from the game in the first half, Rush-Henrietta's Kevin Jackson injured that ankle in the first half. The trainers say he will return. It looked kind of ballooned to me, but he says he'll come back. 31-21 at half. We'll be back right after this break.
Put my foot on the gas. Whoa, accelerate. Whoa, drive so fast. Whoa, no one's gonna catch me.
The thrill is back. The cars of the 90s are here at the fabulous International Auto Show, Rochester Riverside Convention Center, Wednesday through Sunday, March 1st through 5th. See everything that's new from the U.S. and 8 foreign countries, and the very best from the world over, including from Burt Reynolds' Cannonball Run, the fantastic Lamborghini Countach. See the specially equipped $200,000 Dream, the world's greatest car, and then compare it to tomorrow's greatest, the Corvette of the 90s, the futuristic Indy Corvette. See it all at the Auto Show.
Remember when every song on the radio was your favorite? Classic Oldies 99 FM WKLX. The music that made you feel good then is making you feel good all over again.
The Beatles!
Classic Oldies 99 FM. The greatest hits of all time is the newest hit in Rochester. Classic Oldies 99 FM WKLX.